A demon lives in this city, Mr. Holmes. What is over there?
A trip from which you will never return, Watson. Trust me, don't go there. Beyond that threshold is an abyss. Hell. He is an angry man in despair following a mistake that cannot be fixed.
My goodness, Holmes, it was a slaughter. To the London hospital, quick! My colleague agreed to meet me here in one of the London hospital rooms reserved for students.
Ah, John, you're there already. Punctual as always. Tell me, you don't seem to be in good shape. Is it possible that your recent marriage is making you this morose?
Ah, you know me well, Andrew. No, it's a strange and terrible affair that concerns me. Have you read my note?
Yes, I admit that I was surprised. It just so happens that I, too, was asking questions about our morgue.
What do you think? Have you heard of any organ trafficking within?
No, John. No doubt there exists some exchange between colleagues. Not quite legal, of course, but nothing that can qualify as trafficking. Since the Anatomy Act of 1832, which permitted the use of unclaimed corpses for science, the black market trade was definitely halted. There are sufficient subjects available for all practitioners and students. Of this I can confirm.
Well, organ trafficking as a lucrative trade is out of the question. Then what is troubling you with the morgue?
You are talking about trafficking organs, but I suspect there is trade in whole bodies.
What do you mean to say? Whole bodies are disappearing?
Well, it's confidential, but I know of your discretion and your friendship with the famous Sherlock Holmes. I can tell you that a few corpses have recently disappeared from the hospital morgue. Cadavers that were intended for dissection. That is to say, not claimed, poor, unknown people. If a single corpse had disappeared, it might have been a bad joke. There are many students who pass through here. It's even a meeting spot. For the majority, they are here to work. A few come here in secret to practice. It also happens that instruments or organs go missing. Nothing alarming, but so many corpses. It's very troubling.
But the hospital doctors aren't doing anything?
No. That is to say, they would prefer not to call the police at this point. An investigation would no doubt result in the suspension of authorizations for the use of unclaimed corpses. Do you think that you could intercede on our behalf with Sherlock Holmes to clear up this situation?
Which corpses are missing?
I don't know exactly, but I can make an exact list if you would like to wait here for a few minutes. Feel free to look around the room while you wait. It'll bring back memories.
Thank you, Andrew.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sherlock Holmes vs. Jack the Ripper. In this episode, we're going to be doing an awful lot of puzzle solving.
It's here that students come to carry out their experiments.
So, there's not going to be a huge amount of extra dialogue regarding the case. However, I do intend to do an episode coming up which will go into
This
a lot
wheel
more.
won't roll despite all of the added grease. Curious, as Holmes would say. These wheeled trolleys are very handy for laying out surgical instruments. It's here that students come to carry out their experiments. This rag is full of grease. It certainly wasn't used for a dissection. Was someone doing some mechanical work here?
So our aim in this episode, or at least for now, is to try and establish some kind of motive for the killer. The idea that bodies or organs may be for sale on the black market was potentially something.
It's here that students come to carry out their experiments.
However, we've already kind of ruled out organs due to the act that
This
was
surgical
mentioned.
instrument resembles a screwdriver. How amusing. It might come in handy. I will return it later.
So really all we're looking to do now is poke around and see what's going on.
A message. I'll be... Why the devil was it hidden here?
So here's our first piece of evidence here, a hidden message regarding a young child who's been hospitalised with syphilis, likely caught off his parents. However, there's also been a previous message or previous mention of one of the individuals there, Jacob Levy, and it was in this old police report that we've seen here. So could just be a coincidence, but something for us to keep in mind. But it's also mentioning a magnet. Weird.
An old prescription. Poor child, so young, yet terminally ill. Strange, someone scrawled something. Part of it is in Latin. These are instructions, it would seem. The last lesson must have been about the human heart. And for a class of beginners, I expect, as this diagram is rather rudimentary. There is a heart in this jar. Based on its colouring, it hasn't been there long. And it looks like the drawing on the board. This jar contains 2 lids with combination locks.
So there are 2 clues. You can see that we have the notes here with the vena cava.
An encyclopedia of anatomy. A page on the human heart is dog-eared. Let's see.
Yes, so... Of course, I had to do a little bit of looking round before I got that, but let's go back to the jar and see if we can get in.
There is a heart in this jar. This jar contains 2...
So here we go, we can now use this document, and it's fairly simple. We're looking for the blue to be the vena cava superior, which we can see is 1. So we move that round to 1. And the red being the valva aortae, which shows us 5 here. So we'll just knock that down.
Look, there was a bit of paper stuck between the 2 lids.
I love how it's called the message from the heart as well. And it's just the number 6. There you can see we have now atrium sinistrum, which is 8 on the dial. And then we have the truncus pulmonalis. I should be able
Incredible! Someone has hidden a magnet in this heart. But to what end?
I feel like I should be able to pronounce these things since I do have medical people in my family, so I'm just going to have to apologise to them. And moving on, we'll continue to try and solve. This is desk number 6.
Incredible! There is a magnet with a hook behind this pane of glass. I am in need of something.
This is just simply a dexterity challenge. So what we need to do is just bring the magnets close to each other. And you'll see I'm speeding this up because this is rather tedious. So you literally just bring the magnets by each other and drop it out of the hole.
There, all done. Holmes couldn't have done better himself.
Which gives us a hook, which we'll see how to use very shortly.
A hole? I can make out something inside, but how to get it out? I will need a hook. I found it! A coded message. I do believe I will need Holmes.
Here is the list, John. The missing corpses are those of a woman, 40 years old, beginning of August, another, 55 years old, 2 weeks ago, and recently, a young woman. These corpses had nothing in common except that they didn't have any apparent lesions.
All of this is very troubling. Well, I think that I have all of the information possible, and I promise that I will do what I can to clear up this business. I must leave you, my friend, and...
In the name of our friendship,
Please, don't go so stare.
To be sure. Thanks again, Andrew.
it is I who must thank you, John. Don't forget to keep me up to date and say hello to your charming wife for me.
Count on me, Andrew.
I must go to the wasp's nest to find this rogue that Watson dubbed Bluto. He may be able to provide information on Dr. Tumblety. This lead, although tenuous, is well worth following. I must return to Whitechapel, but it would be better if I did so incognito.
So while Holmes is getting in disguise, I'm going to try and recover some of my educational credit. You would have seen in the heart diagram the terms dextrum and sinistrum, and the literal translations for those
This should do the trick.
are right or right-handed for dextrum and left or left-handed for sinistrum.
Let's go. Let's go to the wasp's nest.
And in fact the term ambidextrous literally translates as both right-handed. So I'm afraid the ancient Greeks and Romans
There's something here.
were definitely of the opinion that right was superior to left. With of course the term sinister coming from left-handed.
There's something here. I need something. There's something here. I need something. Old tongue. There's something here. I need something. There's something here. I see a jewel. It's fallen between the floorboards.
So after a little bit of messing around there, I'm going to do a speeded up version of this puddle. And we're going to try and extract this jewel. Because of course it's going to have some kind of use later. Again, I have sped this up because this took me way longer than it should have done. And it's not the easiest puzzle either. So we just have to, I'm afraid you'll just have to put up with me fiddling around a little bit here just so I can get this jewel sorted. I think we're nearly there.
A Hebrew inscription. Going by the length of the chain, it must belong to a child. Hello there. You looking for a gas man?
You really a gasser? You sure it isn't a bobby?
Well, if you don't need me, I'll be on my way then. I've already been paid up.
Stay. Who paid you?
A doctor, Marston, I think he was. He told me you'd talk to me about a foreigner, name of Tumblety, if I did you a favour.
Right, mate. Might happen.
What is it you need me to do then?
Listen to me. At the end of Whitechapel, there's an abandoned dump of a house. Opposite Finley's boarding house. Upstairs in the mess where the gas pipes are, you'll find a sack with something heavy inside. If you look in, you'll regret it here. You find it, you bring it here, and you don't tell a soul, right?
Got it. And then you'll tell me about this Tumblety so that I can report back to the doc?
Yeah, doctors know people. And since you is here, it's because he'll move mountains for his American. Me, I don't know much. But you can tell him that he'll have to talk to Squibby. He seems to know lots about plenty. When you come back with a sack, I'll tell you what he needs to tell Squibby so that he snitches on the yank to him. Believe me, mate, it's as explosive as 10 miles worth of gas in your damn pipes.
Right then, I'm off.
Go. Give me some air.
I could arrange for the police to come down here and arrest this thug, but he seems pretty tough and would probably be a lot less cooperative than if I play along. It's best I handle this myself, including meeting the mysterious Squibby.
So like all adventure games, we're going into a little bit of padding in order to make this game go a little bit further. However, there is certainly some necessity behind it here, as we are investigating Dr. Francis Tumblety. The bit with Watson at the beginning doesn't really have too much connection with the murders themselves, which is more a sort of interesting side quest. I think that the game developers maybe could have padded that out with something differently, but it is somewhat relevant.
On this poster is written, Club for Socialist Jews, the Cradle of Liberty. Interesting.
Once again, the game sort of pointing out that certainly at this period in London there was very much segregation of different racial and religious types in London. It was just a sad fact of the times.
It's the abandoned house that Bluto pointed out to me. He must have set up his hideout there. There's a strange smell coming from this old building. Good day, Finley.
Good day, sir. Have we met before?
It's me, Sherlock Holmes, but I don't want it to be known that I'm here. Can I count on you?
Certainly, Mr. Holmes. I shall be as silent as the grave.
Your tenant, Dr. Tumblety, is he here?
I don't think so, but go and find out.
It would seem you've been having some gas problems.
Don't talk to me about it. The problem is from the abandoned house not far from here, but nobody has come to take care of it.
Perhaps I could go and take a look. Do you have a ladder?
No, but I think in the pile of wood under the stairs there is one in pieces. And if you also need something from the scrap heap, some old tools or who knows what, feel free to take it, Mr. Holmes, but leave the dishes in good condition.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
Finlay being rather useful and Holmes using his reputation there, so let's see if Dr. Tumblety is around.
Closed.
Well, apparently not. Just looking round just to see if there's any footprints. Sherlock Holmes is mastermind. And there's no way into here, so we're going to have to build a ladder from the bits and pieces down here.
Finlay's ladder is smashed to pieces, but all the parts appear to be here. This lead pipe could help me to repair the gas lines. This must be a piece of the ladder. Some old nails, they may come in handy. This must be a piece of the ladder. This must be a piece of the ladder.
This really is a game of just clicking on anything you can at this point.
This old cloth could be used as a mask. I must moisten my makeshift mask.
So, while we're looking around here, obviously the idea, because it's been a while since the last episode, the idea here is that we're trying to gain some information on Dr. Francis Tumblety. Right now we don't know if he is connected to any of the murders, however, there seems to be a lot of talk about him in the underworld, and that's always a bit worrying.
This lead pipe could help me to repair the gas lines. A heap of rusted iron crockery. Part of a perfume atomizer.
What you saw me use there was one of the game's shortcuts, which basically shows you everything you can interact with on the screen.
There, this damp cloth will do for a mask. This lead pipe could help me to repair the gas lines. A broken hammer, I will have to find a handle. Part of a perfume atomizer.
And here we go, just putting everything together. So we've now got our hammer. And we've just got to put together the ladder. Somehow just putting two pieces of wood next to each other. Somehow just putting two pieces of wood next to each other actually makes a ladder, but you know. There we go. You can see what the game's trying to achieve, but it's not massively intuitive, I would say. So I guess we try and head in here and sort this gas
I hope
leak.
this ladder will support my weight.
Hopefully Holmes hasn't been hitting Mrs. Hudson's food a little bit too hard in the last couple of days.
My cloth mask won't make much difference, but I'll be able to inspect the room for a few seconds.
So that wasn't really for too much, but at least it'll help for a little bit.
I need something.
So we need to break the padlock.
This iron bar will help me.
How convenient.
The leak is coming from here. The satchel is behind these pipes. This explains why the thug wanted someone who knew about gas. He must have hidden it there in great haste and broke the pipes in the process. The satchel seems to be quite stuck. I don't think I can get it out without passing out. For good. I need a more suitable mask. The kind used by tanners would do nicely.
Well, let's see if our friends in the district know more about this.
How is your investigation going, Mr. Holmes?
I'll be needing a mask of the sort tanners use. Do you know where...
Go check in the little lane across from the clinic. At the cobbler's, perhaps.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
So that's at least our next clue to try and get the tanner's mask, and I'm just moving about all the various bits of pipe here so we can get things in the right place. Now, obviously, this walkthrough is meant to be from a historical standpoint, and I will be doing a few bonus videos regarding some of the more official investigations going on, which I don't feel have a place in the middle of a video. Obviously, though, with this being an adventure game, some videos like this one are going to have not much in the way of historical context.
How do, sir?
Hello. I'm sorry to say, but I'm closing.
This man seems wary. I must find a way to win his confidence. How do, sir?
Hello. I'm sorry to say, but I'm closing.
I am here because I found this.
Abraham's beard. The son of one of my neighbors was beaten in the street a few weeks ago and it was stolen from him. If you would give it to me, I promise to return it to him and get you a reward.
Money doesn't interest me.
Who are you, sir? And what do you want from me?
I'm a friend of Dr. Watson's. You know him, don't you?
In that case, welcome. Dr. Watson is a great man, and I would be pleased to help one of his friends.
You work the leather and perhaps even tan it yourself. I believe tanners wear special masks to protect themselves from the toxic emissions given off by the vats used to soak the leather. I have a gas leak to fix, and I won't survive without something effective to protect myself with.
Go see my cousin Abraham, who has a pet shop a little further down the road. Tell him that Isaac sent you. That's me.
I'll be off now.
My regards to Dr. Watson.
So, pretty true to history, it's a very close-knit community that we're dealing with here, rather secretive, and the idea is basically that they are not very welcoming to outsiders, and this is certainly the case as it was around the time. Unfortunately, there's an awful lot of anti-Semitic feeling in the area as well, so therefore, through just self-protection, yes, they have to be very careful. I'm getting a little bit lost in the back streets of Whitechapel here, which isn't very clever, but
This is
I
a
think
pet
we
shop.
found it, so let's go in.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
You must be Abraham Solomonovich. I came on behalf of your cousin, Isaac. He said that you might be able to help me. I need a good mask to protect me from gas emissions so I can repair a leak.
Yes, it should help you. But I let it drop into the big snake cage, and they are very dangerous beasts. I don't know how to retrieve it.
But you must be equipped to deal with these creatures safely, surely.
Of course, but I broke my hook. It should be over there. If you succeed in getting that beast from its cage, you will be doing me a great favor.
This cage must do to hold the snake. I have the broken hook. I can repair it, but I'll need some materials. Perhaps I'll find some material at Isaac's that will be of use. This cage must do to hold the snake. Perhaps I'll find some material at Isaac's that will be of use.
And once again, we very much enter the busy work proportion of the game.
I need a few items for your cousin Abraham. May I borrow them for you?
Of course. You're welcome.
This may come in handy. This should do the trick. This should do the trick.
Okay, so we can now make a makeshift hook, grab that snake, and how has that tanner's mask got into a snake pit? What was he doing with it? Was he trying to tan a snake or something? Either way, we've got a hook in a cage now, so we should be able to get that snake out, get a tanner's mask, and then we'll be able to get that satchel. So again, standard adventure game thing here where you tend to have to do an awful lot of busy work just to get some information.
This cage will do the trick. The mesh is small enough. There we are. Magnificent. If I may ask, why is it you have such equipment?
I haven't always had a pet shop, my friend. I was a butcher for many years, but I wasn't serious enough to be a real meat man, and I was looked down upon in the community. I found myself carting carcasses from the slaughterhouse, a repugnant job in which you catch vile illnesses, and it breaks you before you're out of your 30s. Thus I had the idea to make this mask with a sort of filter, and it worked. Since then I have quit that work, and with my little savings I started this business. I lived through the deaths of thousands of animals. Now I am devoted to their lives. If you are interested, I could sell you a little canary, for example.
No, thank you. Let's return to the boarding house.
While a canary might not be up Holmes' street, he has been known to use animals in the Sherlock Holmes adventures, notably Toby, a dog who was used to follow scent trails, described as an ugly, long-haired, lop-eared creature, half spaniel and half lurcher. But at the end of the day, if a dog or an animal can do something better than a human, then Holmes will use it.
The leak must have been sudden. Even the animals didn't have time to escape.
Let's have a look, another look around. Oh, more dead animals.
The leak must have been sudden. Even the animals didn't have time to escape.
So what else can we get from here? Maybe something with that ham?
A small torch, a useful tool for opening safes, I would assume, but the gas bottle is empty.
Well, we did pick up a perfume atomizer earlier, so that should be useful.
The leak must have been sudden. Even the animals didn't have time to escape. The satchel, rather heavy and firmly wedged. Dislodging it will take a concerted effort and is better done in a safe environment. I must repair this leak before I can get the satchel out.
Okay, so this one is fairly simple. You can see the places where the pipework is broken, and this measurement shows you what sort of percentage the gas is at. So we need to turn it off first, repair the gas pipes. We're going to also need to weld them in place. So what we need is a flame, which you can see comes out of the bottom. We got the welder there that you can see for welding the boxes, and now we just need to get the gas level to an appropriate level. There we go. So the gas is now fixed.
This much talked about satchel is very heavy and seems to contain metal dishes. I told Bluto that I wouldn't look inside, but I've little need to. It's quite obvious that it's full of silverware. Full of crockery, the satchel makes the same noise and weighs about the same as if it were filled with silverware. There is still gas in here. Looking at the state of this cat, it won't survive much longer if it stays here. Let's go to the wasp's nest.
So we're now on kitten rescue, it appears. However, we've now got everything we need.
Let's go to the wasp's nest.
And let's see how Bluto reacts to this. And this will be the last bit of this episode, guys, and I will see you next time. Look out for a very short video coming soon on where everything will be going on the channel. See you next time, guys.
Pass the sack to me. Did you look in?
I give you my word, but it won't belong to you until you tell me where Squibby is.
Fine. The poor idiot was taken by the peelers the other day. I don't know why some chap started to screech about it. He was the Whitechapel killer, but he ended up followed by an hysterical mob. In a flash, the bobbies had him rounded up and locked down.
Do you mean at the local police station?
Might not. But if you or the doc talk to him, tell him that about the kayak business. I'll forget our score if he rats on the yank. He'll know. Now, hand over the bag.
I say, that's all a little bit wishy-washy. I'm not sure it's worth the satchel.
Hey, don't shake it like that, moron. If you don't want to end up with a knife in the back, you'll get busy with the pipe. Got it?
Here, take it. That'll teach me for being a good Samaritan. Honestly, how rude. I'd best be off now. Better to not be around when he opens the satchel.